There we go.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome to the Attractions Podcast. It is Tuesday, and we are a little behind noon, so not our usual day, not our usual time. Apologies. Today was my fault, or rather, my computer's fault. It decided to take
Technology.
an early Christmas vacation,
Yes.
just as we were getting ready to go here. But we are online, we are on board, and Carly is off board. She is disembarked
Yes.
the Disney treasure, and we will be talking about that, but not in this episode. We're saving that for a special bonus episode we're going to be recording a little later today.
Yes.
But first, we're gonna before we jump right into this recording, I think it's gonna be a short one because it was a light news week. But we got to say hi to our friends who have been waiting patiently in the chat for us to come online, starting with Michael Bingham. Happy day after your birthday,
Yes. Happy day
Michael.
after.
I hope you had a great birthday. Also saying hello to Blossom and Michelangelo, as always, in Derek Ho's corner. And Brian Sager letting everyone know that we have fire testing at the Burning Blade Tavern in
Yes.
Dark Universe in Epic last night. Also, news of a Bluey movie. I can't say that I really keep up on
No, I
Bluey's
know.
activities. That one went under my radar. Sorry. But thank you to everyone who is jumping in, and we're just about to hit 50 people. So I think we will go ahead and kick this thing off in 3, 2.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and MEI-Travel. I am Seth.
And I'm Carly.
And we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. And Carly, I know you have been very busy lately. Excited to hear all about your travels. Welcome home.
Yes, thank you so much. It feels really good to be back at the computer. I love these whirlwind trips, and I'm not complaining, but 9 days is a lot.
Mhm.
There's a lot of moving pieces. So to try to cover everything and then go actually work, I was up till 4 a.m. every night. So I'm
Yeah.
a little struggling. So I'm sorry. My voice is a
Mhm.
little out.
Well, hopefully you will get a little bit of rest over the holidays coming up. But
Yes.
we are very excited. We will be talking about Carly's adventures on the Disney Treasure in a special bonus episode that we will be releasing this holiday season, so that the two of us can get a day off and you can get to hear about that in detail.
Yes.
Um,
I
I
did spend a little bit of time during these there was a lot. There was the Island Tower opening at Poly.
Mhm.
We have the treasure. I had just a little few moments to do some other stuff. So I wanted to talk about the new menu at Oga's Cantina.
Oh, I have
Oga
not tried. They
Studios.
finally added some actual food to the
Yes,
cantina.
and I was so excited because Disneyland Oga's had a
Mhm.
version of this pretzel bread.
Yes, the
Now
pretzel bread,
it is at
excellent out
Hollywood
there.
Studios.
Okay.
It is incredible.
Oh, good.
I beelined it for that. It was so good. It's so nice to have an actual snack, like a
Mhm.
savory bar food. The pretzel bread was just stuffed with this beautiful cheese. There was all this almost like a ghost pepper dusting on top, so it had a
Hmm.
nice kick. It was amazing. So if you get a chance to go to Oga's, get this pretzel bread because I would get it every single time I go there. It might be my new favorite
Yeah.
little quick snack over at Hollywood.
Did they remove anything from the menu to make room for that? Do they still have the
They still have
charcuterie?
that weird cheese board
Yeah, the
thing,
tasting board. Yep. Okay.
yeah, so if
Well, I
you
have
go
to.
there, I hope they keep it because it was so good.
I really like the pretzels they've got out west Batu. So next time in Batu East, I'll have to
Yes,
definitely give that a
it's
try.
interesting, it's literally the same pretzel, the same style, it's
Mhm.
just plussed with the addition of the little spice on top and the cheese inside, but
Mhm.
the texture of the pretzel tastes exactly the same. I just liked it better because there was a little more going on and like a depth of flavor. So try it ASAP if you go.
Awesome. I did not have quite as an exciting a week. I actually had a really chill week, mostly hanging out at home with the cats. But I
Perfect.
did stop by Universal a couple times, mostly to meet up with my friends from the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast that I've been contributing to for God, over a decade now. Lee and Tracy were in town from the UK. Congratulations to Tracy on her degree, and it was always great meeting up with them. But honestly, I didn't get many theme park rides. It was a little more busy than I expected, and honestly, I think it was more busy than Universal expected because the parks closed crazy early at Universal. Is like 7 o'clock.
I
Closings,
know.
and City Walk was just packed with people looking for something to do. So I was kind of surprised how I'm hoping that when Epic rolls around, that it is not rolling up the sidewalks at 7 o'clock when that opens.
Yeah, I wanted to go do a little bit more at Universal, but I had the
Mhm.
same thing. I popped in
Yeah,
for like an hour to
yeah.
see the parade. It was finally jacket potato weather, and I had just been
Ah,
craving one. If you've never had one from the London Taxi Hut stand
now,
outside Diagon Alley,
do you
so
go
good.
for the baked beans or
Yes.
the okay?
Yeah, so I always do the baked beans, and they do use that traditional, like, British baked beans, where
Yep.
they're sweet, they're not like American baked beans, but it's been, like, cold and lovely, so I finally could actually enjoy it and not be sweating.
Awesome. Well, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the news in the queue. All right. Well, we've had some news about the Super Nintendo World out in Japan recently, but we're going to start out at Super Nintendo World in Universal Studios Hollywood. In California, they have decked out that land for the first time for the holidays. And we've got some photos that give a hint of maybe what the holidays might look like at Epic Universe in the not too distant future.
Yes,
Looks like a lot of fun.
it does, it looks cute. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like this is such a bucket list destination, and I get it. They live in the Mushroom Kingdom, so they probably are decorating. So
Yeah.
it is realistic that it's decorated, and it does look great.
Well, this
But
does bring up like a theological question that like
yes,
does Christmas exist in the Mario universe? Like
that's what I think.
Christmas is now canon
Yeah.
for the Super Nintendo multiverse, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, if you think of something like a similar lines would be like, I don't know, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. They keep
Right.
it pretty tight all year
Right.
round, you
But
know?
I mean they celebrate Life
Life
Day a
Day.
little bit now,
Yes.
but they don't celebrate Christmas
No.
necessarily. It makes sense for me in Diagon Alley because Christmas is discussed in the books and
Correct.
in the movies, so we know it's a part of the Harry Potter world. But yeah, you're right. I don't know. Someone who knows Nintendo games much more than I do would have to report back and let me know if there's a long history of Christmas references in Mario games. I don't remember any, but
Yes, I mean, I can't remember from my Mario Kart days if there is, but again, let's start with it. It looks wonderful. I love the
well,
little
yeah.
melting snowman.
Yes, I think one of my favorite pictures is these melting
Yeah,
snowmen dressed up as Mario and Luigi in green and red hats and scarves. That's pretty adorable. And you've got, of course, appropriate to have a Christmas tree with a big, power up star on top and covered in question mark boxes. Um, I don't think that Nintendo World out in Hollywood needs anything to make it even more popular.
yeah,
It's definitely enough of a draw. They certainly didn't need it its first season, and they probably could have gone a few more seasons without having to add a seasonal overlay to draw in crowds because it's pretty packed. A slightly related note. I heard that the early entry pass that they sell at Hollywood that lets you get into Super Nintendo World early no longer includes express access to the studio tour. Now it's express access inside Harry Potter. So
Right.
that's a little update. If you are checking this out over the holiday season, I really do recommend those early entry passes, because that first hour of the morning is like the only time you can really enjoy the power-up games.
Yeah.
If you want to collect those keys and fight Bowser Jr., you can do it in an hour in the morning. It'll take you like the whole day if you
Right.
wait.
And those are like my favorite part of the land, is doing up all
Yeah.
those challenges, but it is very difficult during, regular business hours. It gets quite busy.
In addition to the decor, we've also got pictures of some of the special Christmas merchandise, including ugly Christmas sweaters and plush dolls of those aforementioned Mario snowmen. They've got the gazebo where Princess Peach meets folks, all decked out with garland. So that's definitely a photo op that you'll want
Oh
to
yeah.
get.
I mean, it definitely looks lovely. I mean, they're really sticking to just kind of like the primary
Mhm.
colors. It looks really, really
Yeah.
great. I just, if I'm going on my bucket list trip to Super Nintendo World, I don't know if I want it. I'd rather
Right.
be maybe a little evergreen
Hmm.
photos than Christmas, but I do love it. And I
Yeah.
think it looks great and it's like
Yeah.
classy.
I hear you. That's the same argument that keeps Haunted Mansion Holiday out of Walt Disney World. That people want the evergreen version, not the overlay version. But if you are into Christmas, you've also got the Grinchmas festivities to check out, as well as the decoration, as I mentioned, around the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And that's all running now through January 6th at Universal Studios Hollywood. And of course, our friends at MEI can help get you there.
Yes.
Speaking of Super Nintendo World, as I mentioned, there's been big news out at Universal Studios Japan, because Donkey Kong Country is now finally open to the public. There's been some leaked POVs and a lot of footage and photos of the new land. And there's a great video with the creator of Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Donkey Kong and also other iconic characters, previewing the land. Came out just before the opening. Officially open as of December 11th. And I can't wait to get to walk inside the Florida version, because I just missed out on the Japan version. I was hoping when I planned my trip that it would be open out there, but no such luck.
Yes, we had a little bit of delays with this, but
Yeah.
I think it was worth the wait. It looks so good. I
Mhm.
love in our story, I forgot who wrote it, but it was like, no, these are not computer generated images. These are real.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how I'm going to be like when we actually go see it at Epic. Like, this is real.
Yeah, we've got a great article on our website from Blake Taylor that goes from the concept art all the way through the grand opening ceremony. Um, a lot of excited fans getting to be the first folks inside the land. And we've got a look at, of course, the ride, and also the walk around characters, the interactivity, the games you can play, and even a look at the animatronic of Cranky Kong and Squawks that you
Yes.
will see in the queue for the Minecart Madness roller coaster, which I really think that Minecart Madness, between the kind of modest capacity and the family friendly attractiveness of it, I think that's going to be one of the biggest draws in Epic Universe. I think that's going to be one that you're going to want to rope drop, or maybe save for another trip, because
Yeah,
it's going to
absolutely. I
be.
think with like some of the thrill levels of other rides, some people aren't able to do maybe, 3D and whatnot.
Mhm.
So this is going to be the one that
Yeah,
everyone can do, and it will be very, very popular.
yeah, absolutely. Um, some other things that have already proven popular out in Japan. The Jungle Beat shakes. I saw people lining up for these snacks. They've got a DK Crush Sundae, inspired by the way that Donkey Kong throws barrels in the game, and it's in a big plastic barrel mug. And then there's also a hot dog with avocado sauce. Not sure
Yeah.
if that one's going to make it intact across across the ocean. We might
Yeah, it
have
looks
some
interesting.
different food. It does look interesting. Yeah.
It's like I'm more like a Nathan's, like thin hot dog. So
Uh-huh.
I would want to try this. I'd want to try the Jaws dog that they have. They're always those like big, big hot dog patty things.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I could do that.
One of the other fun things that they showed off, they sell these power-up bands that you can use in the Super Nintendo worlds in Japan and Hollywood, and we'll have them in Florida. And I think these are even better than like the wands in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter because they connect to your phone and they let you play these games. They showed off the new game that they have in Donkey Kong Country, where you're going to have to beat on some drums in rhythm in order to make an animatronic of Rambi the Rhino come out of his box. But don't underestimate how much fun, how much
Yes.
added value these games give to your experience in the land, because it really does turn it from like a passive experience to a life-size video game that you can play. And there's going to be these while we have power-up question blocks throughout the Mario side of the land, the Donkey Kong side is going to have Kong letters that you're going to have to look for.
Yeah, I mean, it is just so much fun. I mean, you really feel like you're involved and you're like immersed in the land, for lack of a better word. Like even I'm like glued to my phone in the leaderboard to see how I'm doing,
Yep, absolutely. Also, Blake pointed out some great little Easter eggs in this article from footprints in the concrete that look suspiciously like Donkey Kong walked
Ooh.
around, to murals referencing the original Donkey Kong game on the inside of the queue. There's just so many great details. A lot of great merchandise to spend your money on. And of course, we've also got an update with some photos from BioReconstruct on the version that is very rapidly rising in Orlando.
Yes, so soon, before
Yep.
we know it.
Yeah, so head on over to our article on attractionsmagazine.com to watch those videos and check out all of those photos. Next, a little closer to home, and this one kind of hits close to my heart.
Yeah.
A true legend, a tradition of almost 100 years is coming to an end because Legoland, Florida, which was passed the torch of water skiing from Cypress Gardens, is now extinguishing that flame. The Brickbeard water ski stunt show is coming to an end, and with it, the end of water skiing stunts on that lake that's been going on since long before either of us were alive.
Right. Yeah, I was a little surprised by this, because they're so good at preserving their heritage and kind of keeping the magic
And
of.
they've been very proud of that too. I mean, I can
Right.
remember from the very first time that I went to visit a Legoland under construction hard hat tour, and they pointed out from the very beginning that they were preserving the water skiing stadium, that they wanted to carry on the tradition of water skiing that goes back long before Walt Disney World was built. I mean, that's one of the kind of tourist attractions that made Central Florida before Walt even existed.
Right.
And so the last day to see this show is going to be December 30th of this year. When New Year arrives, it will not have the Brickbeard show, which included flyboarding, wakeboarding, barefoot skiing, and of course, water skiing.
Yeah, this is really great. I mean, it's interesting because at a park targeted with children, it's really great to have these kind of like people feeder experiences that also let you sit and regroup and just let the kids sit, drink some water. So it's a little bit of a bummer, and also is
Yeah.
very entertaining.
I will say, just on a purely financial side, I can kind of understand. The last few times I saw the show, it was not a full stadium. It's located kind of back at the furthest corner of the
Yeah.
park from the entrance. It's near the old Cypress Gardens walk-through area, which is lovely, but also doesn't get a huge amount of foot traffic. And there are several other live performances, stunt show kind of things that they have throughout the park. This one I can imagine was very expensive to run because you've got to have a team of highly trained professional stunt people who, and then the technicians, all the, people in the booth and backstage to keep it all running. I can imagine that this was a very expensive, on a basis of like, how much is it costing it for each person who's seeing the show?
Yeah.
This was probably one of the most expensive attractions in the park. So check it out while you can. Fortunately, I believe that in nearby lake that some of the veterans of this and previous water ski shows still do occasional water ski shows. They're trying to pass that along, but you won't be able to see it at Legoland anymore.
Oh, so soon. You only have a few more days.
Yeah, it will live on our YouTube channel. We have videos from versions of the show stretching from 2011 to 2019, all the way through this summer in 2024. So if you want to remember the history of the show, go ahead and watch those videos. And you still have time, of course, to see this in the next week or so, and also to enjoy the Christmas celebrations that are currently going on at Legoland. They do a great job.
They really do.
All right. Finally, we're going to close out the news with something completely different. The Smurf Experience is coming. A mini theme park is going to be traveling through the US and Canada in 2025, celebrating the new Smurfs movie from Paramount. And it will have 1,300 feet of Smurftastic fun, bringing the world of the Smurfs to life.
Yes, we talk about like every single week. There's a new touring immersive experience.
Yeah,
When will
this
this
is-
bubble burst?
This does really seem to be the new trend, because trying to build something permanent and sit down is a big investment, a big risk. And if it's something that you can give a theme park style experience in a box that can tour around, and as soon as one city gets tired of it, you move on to the next city, you've got a whole new audience. It makes a lot of sense, especially for something like this. This kicked off in Europe and has already had 2 million visitors and sellout crowds as it went through Europe. So the multi-city tour is kicking off in North America early 2025. I don't know that we actually have dates or ticket sales for the North American tour quite yet, which seems to be cutting it kind of close if it's starting in a few weeks. But I guess those are going to be announced soon. But the Smurfs have been around for over 6 decades. That's kind of amazing.
You know what? This just makes me happy because, like you said, they are our childhood and even before that. So I love that they're still resonating with kids today. And I'm actually really excited for this movie.
Yeah, the new movie comes out on July 18th of 2025. It stars Rihanna as Smurfette. She also produces and wrote the soundtrack for the movie. And it also features Kurt Russell, Octavia Spencer, Sandra Oh, and others. There is also a Smurfs animated series, which you can currently catch on Nickelodeon and Netflix. That one's been around for a few years. This attraction is being designed by Belgium-based Psychoforma, and with the help of the SBX group. And I actually also believe that at the IAPA convention, I saw some maquettes for animatronic characters from the company that used to be called Life Formations. They changed their name, but they're an animatronic designer that works with Disney and Universal and other big companies. And I think they've done some work on this as well. Awesome. This it's kind of interesting that the Smurfs have been a part of pop culture for so long, but they don't have any permanent theme park presence in the US or Europe, as far as I know. There is in the Middle East at I believe one of the indoor theme parks there. There's a DreamWorks, or I'm sorry, Motion Gate. I think they have a Smurfs area. That's
such a good point, because I'm thinking of Nickelodeon Universe at the American Dream in New Jersey, and I I can't recall
Yeah.
any presents from them.
So I
Yeah.
remember Smurfs being real big when I was a kid in the
Yeah.
80s, but I guess they're trying to make a comeback with this
Good.
movie. And
Love it.
so if you're a fan, keep an eye out for the Smurfs Experience sometime
Yes.
in 2025. All right. That is going to bring us to the end of the news in the queue. And it's time to hear a word from this week's sponsors.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and MEI-Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI-Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
It's time for the main attraction.
All right, for this week's main attraction, Walt Disney World has just opened its newest Disney Vacation Club property, and Carly got to visit the Polynesian's new island tower.
Yeah.
Blake Taylor has an article with a full guide to the new hotel that you can read on our website with pictures, but I just want to hear from Carly. Tell us about your experience. Tell us about the property. What do you think? Because I know this has been a very controversial build. A lot of people watching it go up wondered, how does this fit into the Polynesian vibe?
Yes.
Now that you've experienced the vibe in person, what's it like?
I spent a full 24 hours. I got to stay there. I really just hung out there. First off, I've been thinking about it too, because yes, it is a totally different vibe than the classic Disney's Polynesian Village Resort that opened in 1971. I loved it, which I'll get to it, but I just kind of want to explain why it's different. If you think about the plans for the original Polynesian, they were creating in the 60s. What was happening during the 60s? It was America's fascination with tiki culture, but that's not authentic tiki culture. That was what we created as escapism, which today, if you know, there's so much heat around tiki culture and how we've just kind of appropriated these cultures. So the tiki that we know, the mid-century modern from the 50s, 60s, 70s was created by us as Americans. Literally, it was created by American people. So I don't think you could create a hotel today of that theme, because you would get backlash. What are your thoughts on that? Don't you think it's really delicate?
I think it's a complicated conversation
Yes.
that we probably don't have time for on this.
Yes.
I see both sides of the argument. I think that that there are, there is elements of tiki culture that are appropriative and colonial. There are also elements of tiki culture that are genuinely respectful, and I think when cultures interact and fuse and combine, they create something that's sometimes greater than the sum of its parts. That can be transcendent of maybe some dated ideas or thoughts of the people who originally created them. So I see both sides of the subject. My issue with the Poly new expansion tower was less the theming as the scale. The original Polynesian village was very much a village with these long houses relatively low to the ground, where this is a big, massive block. Especially watching it go up during construction, it seemed like just a huge big box. So having seen the finished product, does it feel like it integrates into the landscape around it, or does it feel like it just sticks out?
I thought it does. I feel what it felt like I was staying at a boutique luxury hotel within a greater property. It felt very intimate. There's only 268 rooms. It just had this very just kind of boutique hotel feel, where if Cinderella Castle wasn't slapping me in the face right away, I could almost, forget that I was at Disney World. I mean, there's so much to mention. The aesthetic and the theming, there are a lot of neutral tones, and that's what people were calling it out there. It looks like a Marriott. when you're
Mm.
in there, there's so much textures,
Mm.
materials that it just was almost like living in a museum. And
Mhm.
I learned that they did consult with a ton of different Polynesian artists that created all these different pieces. And it incorporates like the water with blue tones, the rugs were created from recycled materials. There's such a story that was so
Mm.
intentional going on. And I thought like the lobby is just beautiful. I just kept going in there and just looking, and
Yeah.
photos don't do it justice. You have to see it. Like, again, these textures and pops of color. And it was just so well thought out. And it created almost, like I said, like it was just serene. Like I felt like I wasn't at Disney World. And you see the Wailulu Bar and Grill, which I'll talk more about. There's sunken in booths with infinity pools surrounding it.
Mm.
It's just so next level from what I can't think of anywhere else at Walt Disney World that is like this. And I love, the tiki tropical culture is my favorite. So this is
Mhm.
a luxe interpretation of that. It felt
Mm.
very, very posh.
I'm curious. I have not been to Alani. How would you compare the feel of the lobby, the public spaces to Alani?
Totally different. Totally
Okay.
different. And I had a lot of people because I, have been posting and stuff, and they were like, I literally thought you were in Hawaii. Alani is different than a lot of the other parts of Oahu and whatnot.
Mm.
And you look out at the water, and it was just so gorgeous. I mean, these little art pieces, the detail, I
Mm.
just could spend all day there. And again, it's only 268 rooms. So it's not this like sprawling property. You have
Mhm.
like a sense of intimacy, and you could just kind of walk around and look at everything. And there was a mural in the lobby that is 3 stories tall that they, commissioned this artist to do. And he used, I think it's like shark teeth, all these
Yeah.
natural pieces,
Yeah.
because they're trying to go for like sustainability and celebrating conservation efforts.
Yeah.
So they use optimized heating and cooling, so it'll run on like 30% less energy than another hotel. So I feel
Yeah.
like people just look at something and they miss the whole story to it.
I
It
I
doesn't
do really like the
match.
way they've used all these like natural materials, wood, woven fibers.
Yes.
It makes it look a lot warmer, a lot cozier.
Yeah.
Um,
Very,
did
very.
you did you get to chance check out the pool, which
I did.
features
Yeah.
a Moana splash pad?
Yes, this is so cute. So the pool itself is a really great size, 0 entry swimming pool, a lot
Mhm.
of chairs. All poly guests will have access to it.
Okay.
But I thought it was a really good size based, compared to, I'm thinking maybe like the new villas at the Disneyland Hotel. This felt
Mm.
maybe like a bigger space than
Oh.
that. There was a lot of chairs. The Moana water feature was so cute. I did get up on there, just to say. Got up on there. Definitely not for me. It is
No,
for the
for the little
younger
ones. Yeah.
explorers.
And did
Also a
you
hot
get
tub.
you had mentioned what were your experience like at the restaurant that they have
Okay.
there?
I went for lunch and dinner. I It was one of the best meals I've ever had at Disney World. And
Wow,
I'm
that's
really,
saying a lot because we've been to Victoria and Albert's.
yes. The space is immaculate.
Mm.
It's just, so there's indoor, outdoor. Indoors, fine. I can see that maybe where families will want to sit. It's a little bit more chill. The outside is like my dream outdoor patio. You have heat lamps. You have obviously the
Mm.
stunning views, this beautiful, large circular bar, which, a lot of these Disney World lobby bars, hotel bars, pool bars have like 6 bar stools.
Mm.
This was quite expansive, so you can come back at night. These sunken in booths with the infinity pool
Mm.
overlooking the castle, it was just magical. So I was already sold on vibes, and then I ate there because it was so good, and I did pay
Wow.
for my dinner, and I did spend a lot of money because I ordered a lot. Amazing. The appetizers, we had these shishito peppers with this eggplant tahini dip. There was this garlic shrimp that was in some sort of lemon pepper garlic emulsion, and I was like spooning
Mm.
it out like it was soup. It was from start to finish. Oh yeah, there's the loco moco,
Mm.
short rib, every single thing. Oh, this sweet potato hummus, I couldn't believe how good it is. So they are trying to incorporate foods that are part of the normal Polynesian everyday diet, and I learned that one of them is the breadfruit. So this hummus that they make, they serve instead of with like a pita chip, they serve with this breadfruit, which was kind of like the perfect little crunchy chip for this. The hummus was so good. And it's so weird. I was like, hummus, why do we have sweet potato hummus? It was just amazing. Like the amount of apps that you could put together and make kind of this like, little elevated bar stop was so good. There's a burger that's made with smash patties. I ordered so much. We went for like a sampling during the day, and then I went back for dinner and spent like $200 on food.
So what I'm hearing is I need to book a reservation so I can sit outside during the fireworks, right?
You do not,
No?
because they are going to open today without reservations and
Oh.
see how it goes.
Oh, thoughts and prayers.
I don't see that going well because the
Mm-mm.
vibes, again, like even if the food is not great, the vibes are so good. They
Yeah.
are also piping in the music of fireworks.
Okay,
No.
that's gonna.
I know. So it was just we sat in that like there's little beautiful circular sunken booths with the infinity pool, and just were looking out, and I actually watched fireworks there from that night, and it was just incredible. There's cocktails too, so they're really leaning into different ingredients that they would find in the Polynesian islands. There's a tea program, so they're steeping all their own teas to make this. That pictures the hibiscus iced tea. My sister had like 3 of them. It's non-alcoholic. They top it with an orchard flower. I had if you get something, I only had one drink, a banana old fashioned. It was so good. And then now, what was the showstopper of the actual tower rooms were the views. And including in this, there are 4 communal, they're calling them terrace garden spaces. These were beautiful and unlike anything I've seen in a Disney World hotel. I cannot believe they
This
did
looks
this.
absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Let me ask, first of all, as someone who will not be is not a DVC member and will probably not afford to rent a room here, what kind of security is stopping me from going up on this terrace right now? Like, do I need a key card in order to go up in the elevator? Like, if I take the monorail over to the Poly, can I get here
I
or
have a
not?
feeling, because it's such a like boutique hotel, I have a feeling that security is gonna be checking. So the Wailulu, you don't have to go actually physically into the hotel. I feel like they might have to use some sort of security. The elevators, you did have to click to get into these terrace gardens. You also had to click in. They're going to be perfect viewing for fireworks. And also, like, if you were with your family and you just want to take like an hour to sit and read, the views are stunning. You could just sit outside. They were just totally unexpected. I just couldn't believe it. And 2, I believe, are facing Magic Kingdom, and the others are facing the back.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, I need to make friends with someone who's got a room there and let them vouch for me
I was
so
thinking about this too. Are the Duo studios, which are the small ones. And if you could do like a rental, from like a Dave's DVC rental or something, you might be able to get like a decent deal on it.
Yeah, well, deeded ownership interest in DVC starts at $23,500 and goes up to $60,000. And that is not actually a purchase, because if you were to buy that ownership interest, it would vanish into thin air come January 31st of 2066. So no passing that on to your grandchildren. So if maybe I can rent points or something like that for a night. Speaking of which, we've talked all about everything around the rooms. What are the rooms themselves like? I know it's almost an afterthought at Disney Hotel what the room itself is like.
So the rooms have floor to, so my checkout was 11 a.m. and someone was like knocking on my, I didn't want to leave. The rooms have the ones that are facing the theme park. Obviously, you're either facing back or the theme park. Floor to ceiling views, and you don't just see the castle. Because of the vantage point, you see Grand Floridian, the Contemporary, the rest of the Polynesian. It was like the best views.
Perfect angle,
Disney World hotel. This hotel tower also debuts a new 2-bedroom penthouse villa. So I toured all of the rooms. You'll be familiar with the deluxe studio, which is sort of similar to a regular hotel with a small kitchenette. a duo studio, and then they have 1-bedroom villas, 2-bedroom villas, and the highest are these 4, what they're calling 2-bedroom penthouse villas. The living space was massive.
Yeah.
I believe they sleep up to 8, but just like the living room, kitchen, dining is like a really big open floor plan. If you were there with, I mean, it's like bigger than my house. If you were there with a group of 8, you wouldn't be on like top of each other, and you have your
Wow.
own massive patio overlooking Magic Kingdom.
So if you're splitting that price 8 ways, maybe that's not a bad deal. I
Right, yeah.
honestly, my budget would probably go more towards the duo studios. Now, I believe is that similar to the small rooms that they have at the Riviera?
They're exactly the same with the pull down hidden Murphy
Mhm.
bed. Yep.
Have you stayed in one of those yourself?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
They're fine. I mean, like, they're compact,
Mhm.
obviously, but it's only meant for 2 people, so.
Sure. Well,
Oh,
if
I
you
have one more thing to
Oh,
note.
yes.
I always loved, like, I would rather walk than take the monorail because I used to love that little walk from the Poly all the way to the
Mhm.
Grand Floridian. This
Okay.
location, what I love is that you feel really secluded with the
Mhm.
small rooms, but you walk out to the left, you'll be at the Grand Floridian. I tested it. You'll be at the Grand Floridian within 5 minutes,
Yeah.
to the main building. I'm not talking about like when you pass the wedding pavilion. Then you
Mhm.
go out to your right and you could be at Kona Cafe getting coffee within 3 minutes. So
Well,
I like how you have that seclusion, but also I can get to wherever I wanted to go if I wanted to pop in to the Grand Floridian to get lunch, because this hotel tower only does have the Wailulu, which is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I like that you could just easily get elsewhere. And also you can walk to Magic Kingdom, which I love doing the walk, so I don't have to wait for the monorail.
yeah, I think it's amazing how it is really just tucked in there, nestled in there in between the backside of the old Poly buildings and the wedding pavilion,
Right.
right there. The only thing that makes me a little sad is that the old luau show
I
had to go
know.
away to make room for it. That was a classic. They still do a luau over at Universal.
Yes, they do.
But
Yeah.
Disney's was just very vintage 70s. It was
It really
they had
was.
that fashion show in the middle of it for no good
Oh my god.
reason.
Yes, I posted a picture of me the other day from doing the luau show on stage when I was
Oh,
like 5. So I was like, "Oh man,
aw,
it's crazy that we're now staying in a
yeah,
tower here."
right
But
above where you
it was so lovely. Like if I could eat at Wailulu every day or just sit at that bar and look
Mm,
out, it is going to be so popular. Like I don't know if we'll be able to get in.
yeah.
It's pretty big, but people are going to come out in droves.
Now, I'm expecting that they restrict parking for people who are not registered guests. So if you did wanna check out this property, probably your best bet would be to take the monorail to the Poly or the Grand Floridian and then just walk right
Yep.
over, right?
Yeah. I feel like the security will be quite
Mhm.
intense there because it's such a
Gonna
small.
make it up to one of those garden terraces one of these
Yes.
days.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah. It was so beautiful. I mean, I just couldn't believe how that was like, oh my god. The rooms are spacious, the villas are really spacious, the views are amazing, and it's just so nice to be able to, I don't know, I love the Polynesian. It has always been my favorite hotel. But it gets chaotic over there. I did
Mm.
go in a few times over the last couple of days, and it's just.
Did you go to Trader Sam's?
No, the wait was like 5 hours,
No.
it was I hang at Tambu, that is my spot.
Sure.
This just feels like a little oasis tucked away in there.
All right. Well, I am very happy for you and super jelly that you got to go. Next time you're in town, we will have to meet over there for a
We
drink
are going
for
to
sure.
I kept asking, I wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly, so I remember why Lulu? Why
Why
Lulu?
Lulu?
Yeah,
Why Lulu? All right. Why not Lulu?
why not Lulu?
All right. Well, that is just about going to bring us to the end. But before we wrap this up, let's take a look back at some of the comments in the chat for us. Uh, John Self is waving hello to everyone from his ivory tower today.
Love it.
Brian Sager wanted to confirm that how many restaurants there are at this new Poly Island Tower. Just the one.
So it is Wailulu is just the one. Lunch and dinner will be it's called casual dining. So like you could sit, you can also take it to go, and then it will be open in the morning as a sort of breakfast coffee bar where you can grab drinks and also pastries. And they did tell me that you'll be able to sit. So like if you want to go, I mean, it's not going to be like a full breakfast. You'd have to walk over, to Captain Cook's or Kona, but you can grab a pastry. One is like an exclusive coconut bread of some sorts, which I didn't get to try because it wasn't open, but I want to. And you just grab a pastry and then sit.
Well, Brian is hoping that this new restaurant helps pull some crowds away from Ohana. Yeah, good luck with that. I think Ohana is always going to be packed.
I think that will be forever packed, and you
Yeah.
will not find me there. I'll be at Tambu ordering the
Tambu.
nudes when the craving strikes.
All right. All right. Well, before we go, we want to thank our sponsors, MEI and Mousefan Travel, and remind everyone to please give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you happen to listen to us. Or if you're here on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe. Please also follow us at attractionsmagazine.com. Search for Attractions Magazine on your favorite social media platforms. Carly, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Yes, I am on Instagram at Adventures by Carly and on X and TikTok at Carly Karamana.
And I am at S. Kuberski and at The Unofficial Guides, or pick up copies of my new 2025 guidebooks at theunofficialguides.com. And until next week, we hope you folks stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And we will see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.